Michelle. How are you?
Hello, Aaron. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm super excited. Welcome to the Legal Growth Podcast, where we dive into the strategies, challenges, and success stories shaping the future of law firms. I'm your host, Aaron Fulk, and together with Legal Growth Partners, we'll bring you in-depth conversations with top legal professionals, industry innovators, and firm leaders. Our goal is simple: share practical insights, innovative strategies, and real-world advice to help your law firm scale, adapt, and thrive. Whether you're navigating growth challenges or looking to boost your business development, you are in the right place. So let's dive in. I'm so excited by our guest this week. This week, our guest is Michelle Burns. How are you, Michelle?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm so excited you said yes to this. Especially Michelle, you've been so incredibly busy. So I'm glad that
Yeah, I know. But yay, I was able to get it in.
Perfect. Well, I just got a few questions, but I think everybody's going to love to hear from you. So let's just dive in. Just give me a quick overview of how you chose to get into law and how you chose your specialty of real estate.
Well, I think I've always been drawn to the law or something kind of like it, like analyzing and comprehending and knowing the answers and figuring things out since I was a kid. And I knew the law had a lot to do with that. And I would always like dig deeper into things. I would like read the phone book and like to find new things and to keep them in my mind. And then I would read mystery novels but I was super shy. So I thought, okay, if I'm going to be a lawyer and I'm going to figure all this stuff out, I'm going to like be in a back office and just like, figure out the answers, but not say them out loud. And then my undergrad was criminal justice. And so I was really also into like maybe being a Fed or something like that, investigations, or a federal lawyer, or prosecutor. But I worked for a small real estate firm for about a year and a half before I started law school. And I had no idea what was going on. I was like, this is the most boring things that can be out there. There were talks about TIFs and CIDs and CDDs and pilots and EATs. And I'm like, what are these things? And I thought it was like, I'm like, I'll never do this. First year law school, required courses, contracts, and real property. And all of a sudden, it's like my brain flooded with that information and how interesting it was, and understanding it on a deeper level, and the way that kind of they teach you to think in law school, and then understanding the law on it. And it got really exciting. And so that's kind of how I ended up in an area that was nowhere where I thought I'd be. And I love it.
It's so crazy, right? The more you know, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I can nerd out about real estate all the
time. Well, what do you think has been your biggest growth success story so far?
I would say it is mostly having confidence in my own confidence. I always generally knew I had the answer, but I was afraid to be wrong. And I was afraid to go in front of people or talk to other lawyers or peers or colleagues or even younger and be wrong. So I kind of be quiet. And then somehow, somewhere in my mid-20s in law school, right after, something in me snapped. And I got the confidence in my own confidence enough to share and discuss it, and go in front of a jury and clients and all of that stuff. And it just gave me a feeling of, okay, I've always known who I am, but now I can be who I am, but I'm also not like blustery about it or anything. I kind of keep it to myself. I'm like, I want people to know me for me, and them to get the confidence from me without telling them I have the confidence in myself. Right. So I try to exude that without saying, well, I'm a lawyer and I have all of these accolades. I really want to know my clients, judges, colleagues, friends, family, everybody, that, I'm here. I know what I'm talking about, and I don't have to tell you about it all the time so that you know.
Right. Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay, what would you say is your favorite non-legal skill that has been surprisingly very helpful in running your firm?
Let's see. Um, one simple one, typing. Um, I, took old school typing on a typewriter. And then when I worked for the real estate firm very quickly, I had to learn to type. They were like, oh my gosh, this girl doesn't know how to type. Well, I learned to type really, really fast. I typed all through law school. I would dictate the lectures verbatim. And it helps me because a lot of lawyers dictate and would do, that or dictate to something else. And I wasn't good at that, but I can get it really fast from my brain to my fingers to the keyboard and in there. And it really helps me focus and see what I need just to be able to get it out of here as quickly as possible and onto paper or something else without speaking it. Because if I speak it out loud, I might not remember what I said like 5 minutes later, just because you have the next thing rolling in your head.
Right.
And so that would just be a very non-legal skill. But also, I think maybe being a little more personal and just outgoing.
Yeah.
Maybe I've always had it a little. I've always had kind of an intuition. I think I've had a good way to read people and comprehend people with very short amount of interaction. I don't want to call it like a unique ability or something, but I can have very little interaction and information, and I think I can read people really well into how they are. And that might be having so much psych and social classes too. So
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Those psychology classes pay off at the end, don't they?
they really do. They really do.
Those random MBAs we took pay off eventually.
That's right.
Okay, looking ahead, what trends or changes do you see shaping the future of law firms, and how are you positioning your firm to stay competitive during all these changes?
Oh, I mean, the obvious is AI. Um, and I will tell you, 8 months ago, I was hearing about AI. I didn't even know what the chat GPT or whatever was. Even my husband knew, and he doesn't know anything. And then I was taking all these CLEs on it and seeing what would happen. And then I got some on my legal research platform, and it's really amazing. And I don't see it taking away from what a lawyer needs to do, because we do, and here in like Johnson County, one of our counties, we have to put on everything we file. I did not use any AI in this, or I did use AI. This is what I used, and I read over all of it and I checked my resources.
Is that so? Right now, just one of the counties you service, you have to do that?
That's the only one that I use regularly that I have to do that. They have their own local rule. They passed it, I think, in April.
Do you see that other counties will probably follow suit?
Probably so. And it wouldn't surprise me if like the bar, like the state bars made that a Supreme Court rule or one of the rules that we have to follow as well, just statewide,
That's
and both Kansas and Missouri. So
Yeah, that's wild. All right, one more question that I didn't prep you for, but I just want to hear the answer. What is the one piece of advice you would give to somebody that's thinking about going to law school, thinking about maybe this, like someone young that's thinking about majoring in law? What's the piece of advice you give them?
um, if I say, if you even have an inkling that you have an interest in the law or law school, or even much broader, um, things that really you don't think relate to the law, because you can get a degree in underwater basket weaving and get good grades and an LSAT score and go to law school.
Yeah.
But law school teaches you not only the law, you read a lot of theory. It teaches you a way to think, and you don't even realize that's happening. Because, I mean, you start off reading cases from 1600 England, and you're like, what does this have to do with anything? But it's such a broad field. You don't have to be a lawyer. So many people, they're CFOs, they're CEOs, they read contracts, they're sports agents, they're entertainment agents, because they have an understanding of all of that. And there's so much you can do with it. They're actors. And I think it's a great field to go into and to study and learn, whether you think you want to be a lawyer or not, because it opens so many doors that I probably can't think of all of them.
No, I mean, you
Yeah.
had great examples, especially in that entertainment world. I think that's such a great example. All right, well, we're going to wrap up here so you can get to your kitty. Your kitty sounds like she needs you. So thanks for joining us on the Legal Growth Podcast, presented by Legal Growth Partners. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, drop us a review, share it with your colleagues, because great insights are even better when shared. For more tips and tools to help grow your practice, visit LegalGrowthPartners.com. Until next time, keep innovating, keep growing, and keep smiling. Thanks so much, Michelle.